What's up, Warriors? Guy Beveridge back again with another Warrior Wednesday. I'm so glad you're joining us here tonight. A lot of good information coming out tonight. Let me get you oriented to who we are with Protector's Toolkit. Proverbs 18:15 tells us this: an intelligent heart acquires a knowledge, and the ear of the wise seeks knowledge. Now, in the easy-to-read version of the Bible, sometimes the one I have to go to completely understand what I'm reading, wise people want to learn more, so they listen closely to gain knowledge. And that's really what we're all about here at Protector's Toolkit, is imparting knowledge upon you, knowledge to be a good church safety and security professional that you want to be as you move from good to great and professionalize your ministry at your church to ensure that people that are showing up for comfort, refuge, worship, and learning can do it in the safest environment possible. So we're so glad again that you're joining us here tonight. Make sure you drop where you're joining us from in the comment section. And if you have any questions throughout the broadcast, that's also a great place to drop those questions, and we'll get those answered hopefully during the live portion of the broadcast for you. And I want to just kind of orient you a little bit further. When I call you a warrior, that's very specific, because you are a warrior. You're someone who's standing up at your church and wanting to be a protector of others. And a warrior is somebody that is made in the image of God. How do I know this? Because in Exodus 15:3, it says this: the Lord is a warrior, the Lord is his name, and we all know that we're made in his image. So thank you again for joining us, and thank you for being a warrior for your church and your ministry. Carson, I see you out there joining us, brother. I hope your shooting has improved. So I'm joined tonight by my good friend, Lindsay Hicks. Now, Lindsay is a Texas Field Operations Manager for U.S. Law Shield, and we're going to be talking about comprehensive and very affordable legal defense for self-defense. If you are carrying a firearm in your church, or if you're not carrying a firearm and you are in charge of protecting others within your church, this is something that is going to be vitally important to you. Now, this is something you can replay over and over again. This is something that you can share with your church protector team, your pastors, your executive team at your church, and other churches in your area, because this information we're sharing tonight is going to be vitally important for you. So, Lindsay, thank you so much for joining us tonight. I know this is not your forte. I know this is something you really didn't want to get into, but I'm so blessed and honored and thankful for you to be here tonight. So tell the folks watching a little bit about yourself.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. My name is Lindsay. I am the Texas Field Operations Manager for U.S. and Texas Law Shield. As you've probably heard, we do offer comprehensive legal service for law-abiding firearms owners. So we go around the state and we make sure that you guys are protected.
Yeah, awesome. And you say firearms owners, but we're going to learn later on that it's not just firearms, right?
Not at all. It's any legal weapon.
Yeah, that's right. Even teeth on my 7-year-old daughter.
Well, hey, depends on how you got to use it.
She's a Wolverine. She's free range and wide open where we are. So, with over 600,000 members and growing, U.S. Law Shield and Texas Law Shield is an organization that I find so easy to support and to be a member of, quite frankly. And we're going to talk a lot more about why that's important. And those numbers, those 600,000 members and growing, are so important for what they give back to the business, and then also what the business gives out to their members as well. So we have protectors from all over the nation. They're either watching this live or they're going to be watching this in a replay at some point, and they'll be sharing it all over the nation with their friends at churches. So, Lindsay, do you have a program for all of them in all 50 states?
Absolutely. We do cover all 50 states. However, there are certain states that rules and regulations do apply. There are states that we cannot operate in. That would be something that you can find on our website, and you can find out what you can do to help as well.
Yeah. And so what are one of the, we talked earlier, what are one of those things that people can do to help you all help themselves to get that vital coverage that they need in their state if they don't have it?
One of the big things is to follow your locally elected officials. Make sure that what they stand for is what you stand for. if they're pro 2A, if they are for the Second Amendment, if they want you to be able to protect yourself freely, then you vote for that. If not, you vote it out.
Yeah, very good. Yeah, that's so vitally important that we exercise those rights that we have in the voting booths, and we get the right people in who support the good law-abiding citizens that want to carry firearms and want to be able, quite frankly, to protect themselves everywhere they go. So again, thanks for that. Now, for you all that are listening, I think it's important that I set this up and understand that this is not a sales pitch in any way. This is something I actually have and I actually believe in. And as a church protector in my own church, I think it's vitally important that I have this not only for myself, but the other protectors that serve in the ministry with me. And so there's really a lot of legal risks that a church face. And I'll just tell you the top three right now, legal risks that church face. Number one is it's protection against employee liability claims. That's one of their number one, or they're one of their top three. Courts have ruled that religious institutions may discriminate on the basis of religion. However, they must be consistent and ensure that no other discriminatory factors are present when they do that. So there's a legal liability there when they do that and exercise that right. They also have personal liability protection for their directors, their executive pastors that are directing the things that are happening within the church and are making changes and decisions within the church. In recent years, a number of lawsuits have attempted to impose personal liability on the folks in these executive positions within the church, the officers, maybe the board members or the elders, however you name them in your church. It's essentially the same thing. The directors and officers, they have specific insurance now that comes for them for these types of risks that they have within their church. And last but not least, protection against negligence claims of any type. These are, again, I'm talking about the top legal risks that churches face. And one of them is negligence claims, negligence of any sort. Church leaders may be accused of negligence for a variety of reasons. Negligence in hiring the right staff. They hired the wrong person. Negligence in proper supervision, especially in church activities. Mishandling or negligence in handling children is one of the biggest ones that are paid out. So when we talk about negligence in church, I think as a church protector, as a church warrior out there, you understand that. Jeanette Johnson, I see you watching. Thanks for joining us tonight. Share this with somebody. If you know somebody in your sphere of influence that can be blessed by this, please do that. So let's define negligence here for a second. It's a failure to take proper care, and as a result, that failure causes some sort of injury or damage to somebody. Let me just explain it this way, and as an example, we may all understand in the roles that we play as warriors. Let's say the church allows a volunteer to serve the church as a safety and security team member, and the church fails to ensure proper training, right? You know, I'm going to talk about that. And the volunteer then harms someone, or their negligence causes someone injury or hurt in the course of their duties. They can be found to be negligent. Not only can the person be found to be negligent, but the church can be found to be negligent. So I am now starting to build a good case for why we have things like U.S. Law Shield that come in for me as an individual, that I carry it for myself to protect against these things. Because when we have claims of negligence against a body, a government, a body like a church, they may sever me out of that claim if it goes to a tort situation or a lawsuit type situation, a court type situation. They may sever me separately out of that. So where am I going to be? Am I going to be protected under the umbrella of the church insurance, or am I going to be out on my own on an island because I made a bad decision? Well, here's the thing. When you have something like U.S. Law Shield, when you have a program like this, you don't have to worry about that at all. If you have the right training, which you know, friends, that I always talk about, the qualified quality training from qualified quality individuals that come to your church with their own insurance to make sure you have the right training, and it is training that is to the best standards possible of the day and time that we're living in, then you will be protected in this. And so that's why we, again, have things like Law Shield. Now, when you're talking about negligence, you also have, there's going to be 4 major prongs that you have to worry about when you're trying to prove negligence, or when someone is trying to prove negligence against you. Number 1 is it must be clear that there was a duty to act. I think we all know in our churches, if you have a space, a public space that is occupied by a large portion of the public, you do have a duty to prevent harm. That is going to be simple to prove. If you in fact breached that duty or failed that duty to protect against harm or injury through one of the many of the negligence that can be had there, then that prong is going to be easily proven. The second prong, it must be proven that there was a failure of the duty to act. So if you did have a duty to act, let's just use an example of a heart attack in church, you definitely do have a duty to act because it's reasonable to think that there could be heart attacks in church with the type of people that attend our church and the large amount of the public that attends our church. Then we do have a duty to act. And if we don't do anything about that, we don't have AEDs, we don't have any training, and we just stand over that person as they expire, maybe call 911, well, then it must be proven that the failure was the direct cause of then the fourth prong, the harm. Did someone suffer an injury or some sort of harm? Those are the four prongs of negligence. You can look those up. We'll also drop those in the comment section for you as well, so you can look at the four prongs of negligence. I'll do that later. I'll copy and paste, put them down there for you. I didn't want to cover, this is not about the prongs of negligence, but I want to set this up for you to understand why something like U.S. Law Shield is a vitally important piece of your overall safety and security ministry for your church. So, Lindsay, I know you for sure probably hear the term negligence a lot, especially in any of these cases that end up in court where the the defense attorney, he's got his really nice expensive suit on and he's trying to make his client look like a choir boy while making someone who has U.S. Law Shield look like the bad guy with a gun. We hear that term quite a bit. So you've heard negligence before. Tell us a little bit about the coverage that U.S. Law Shield offers for someone in these events.
So what we offer is we offer you 24/7 access to an attorney. That's one of the cornerstones of our company. When you find yourself in one of these situations where you have used a firearm or any legal weapon in self-defense, and the bad guy with the gun from the other side wants to come back and prove that, oh, he just got out of church camp and he wasn't there to do harm and you had no reason to shoot him. That's where we come in, because unfortunately the legal system is sometimes unjust in these situations. So we are here to help you in those situations, to make sure that you're a law-abiding citizen. You have every right to protect yourself. You have every right to use legally justified use of force. And there is no reason that you should be drugged through the legal system in order to prove that you are innocent. So that's where we step in to help.
Yeah, absolutely. And that is an individual protection like no other. It's a shield, whatever you want to call it. It is something for you as that protector, that person who stood up and did the right thing and took the right actions to prevent harm to others. It is that shield of protection for you to say, okay, this is going to be a long, drawn-out process. The criminal side of things, possibly the civil side of things I'll get into here in a second. So I want you all to understand, while the church itself as an entity does have insurance and your team may be insured underneath that umbrella, guess what? If you get severed out of that lawsuit and you are an individual on an island, then you will need to hire your own attorney. Or if you do still fall under that umbrella, guess what? How many lawyers do you want coming to your rescue when you have a situation like that? The more the merrier is what I say. I want as many attorneys on my side defending me in my actions as possible. The church has an attorney, great. My U.S. Law Shield attorney shows up and I have him on the phone right away in that incident, even better. So I want to make sure that distinction is there for you all. Even if you do have the church insurance and they put you under their umbrella of protection, as an individual, I think it's vitally important and it's just the right thing to do to have protection and coverage like this just for myself. So, Lindsay, I know there's other companies out there that do something similar to this, and you guys do a really good job. Anytime I've ever talked to one of your reps, they don't name the other companies by name because that's just not who you all are. You have an honesty about you, and you guys are very, very humble in this space, quite frankly. When I talked about 600,000 members and growing, I bet you that number is actually probably a little low from the last time I saw it. So, without talking about them, but what are some of the major benefits or things that are different for you all than maybe some of the others out there?
Some of it is our 24/7 access to a criminal defense attorney. A lot of people look past the word criminal defense and are like, it's an attorney. While these other companies do provide an attorney, it could be, you don't want to, if you're in a situation where you need a criminal defense attorney, you don't want a divorce lawyer, you don't want family law, you want a criminal defense attorney to come in and represent you through whatever cases may come. So that is one of our cornerstones of our company, is you will always receive, if you call the 911 line, you are going to get our attorney. The biggest one of the biggest ones for me is that we see you through any criminal, any civil, or any appeals that may come from whatever situation that you find yourself in. There are a lot of people, there are a lot of other companies, as you said, they will, if you are convicted criminally, they won't appeal and they will drop you from their coverage. So if you are sued then a few months later civilly, you have no coverage. So you're selling your house to pay for your attorney.
Wow, that's big right there. The first one alone, I know when I'm in that situation, I pick up a phone and it is an actual attorney, a criminal attorney answering my call, and not an operator, not an intake person who has to get all my information and try to figure out where I am and who is best for that area. That's sometimes a delay I wouldn't want if I'm on an actual crime scene, right? That's where some of these calls are coming in from. Yeah, absolutely. And then what I'm hearing you say also is there's really no cap, right?
There are no caps. We have no caps. Once, whatever you pay a month or you pay yearly, that covers you through any civil, any criminal, any appeals, anything that comes from your case. It is covered in either your yearly or your monthly dues.
That's phenomenal. That's what knocked it really out of the park for me. And friends, just because I'm a police officer, I want you to understand what is going to happen, what is likely going to happen if you are involved in a self-defense issue, whether it's a firearm or not, and you've taken someone's life at your church, or you're seriously or caused serious bodily injury to somebody at your church. You are going to be in what is called a crime scene at that point. So let me tell you, from my perspective, what you can likely expect. Now, it's going to be based on your state and your locality, of course, but in general, we don't think of self-defense as a crime, right? But guess what? It is a crime. It's a crime to somebody. And so until we can rule you out of everything, you are going to be in that situation for a little while. So all parties involved will be part of the investigation. That's going to happen. You will be maybe handcuffed when we show up. Until we figure out who the good guys are and who the bad guys are, you may be handcuffed. You may be one of those people actually sitting in the back of a patrol car. So I want to make sure you understand why this is so vitally important. In an instant, you may go from hero to everybody there that is on scene. The people that you protected, everybody that you love and care about is going to be calling you and lauding you as a hero. But the minute law enforcement shows up, that may just go right away. You may go into handcuffs, and you may even make the trip down to the station in handcuffs. Again, states are different, and things that happen on scene, if they work out for you, great. But I'm just getting you ready for this, just in case this does happen to you. At that moment, when that happens, you will want an attorney on the phone with you, a criminal defense attorney guiding you every step of the way in what to say, what to do, how to act, and someone that is just in your corner, working specifically in your best interest to get you back home where you belong and to go through this with you. So, friends, I just want to make sure that I'm very clear on that with you. You may find yourself in a crime scene. So, Lindsay, back to you real quick. Tell me a story. Tell me something good. Tell me some good positive outcomes. Law Shield stepped in. There was an incident. Law Shield stepped in, or the person had Law Shield, and they had an amazing outcome.
Absolutely. So one of our more noted cases, which I'm sure a lot of people, especially being in Texas, know, is the name Jack Wilson. Yeah. So Jack Wilson was the man who saved an entire flock from an active shooter in White Settlement. He was able to neutralize the threat within seconds. Unfortunately, we did lose 2 lives, but Jack thought quickly, and he was able to, like I said, neutralize. He called 911. Obviously, that's always your first call in any situation, is going to be 911. let them know what happened. And then Jack calls 911. He lets them know what happened. And then he lets them know that he will be calling US Law Shield now. And he was able to get one of our local program attorneys on the phone, told him what to do, what not to do. He has been exonerated. He has been proven innocent. But what a lot of people don't realize is that even though you are cleared criminally, you can be sued civilly in the state of Texas. There is no immunity against a civil case. A lot of people forget that. Well, it was cut and dry. It was self-defense. So we have seen Jack through the infancy of this happening back in December of 2019 to just recently, where he was ruled a hero, as he should be. He's been a member of ours since 2013, and it's just one of those really heartwarming stories. It's unfortunate what happened, but Jack was a hero. Jack saved many lives. And this is all we're trying to do. We are trying to make sure that the heroes in our community are covered. And you're acting in self-defense. We prove that it's self-defense. There's without a question, nothing like that. So we just want to keep covering people. We want to make sure that they're happy. We want to make sure that they are protected, their Second Amendment rights are protected, and that they're comfortable and they have that peace of mind. And we try to bring that.
Yeah, you certainly do. And I know that story all too well. Our protectors that watch this, whether they're watching it live or watching it on replay later, they know that story as well. And I think that's one that we've been following. We followed Stephen Williford for a while in the Sutherland Springs incident down there. And we're continuing to learn from the Jack Wilson story, the hero story there. And you brought up a great point, because people may think, okay, Jack was a hero. He was exonerated in the criminal case, and because he took out the gunman, well, there shouldn't be a civil case, right? Well, that's not necessarily true, because two people lost their lives in the church, and those families may want to come against the church. Those families may want to come against Jack, or both, in a civil trial. So it's not just going to end necessarily at the criminal case. And there's two different burdens of proof when you're talking about it. When you talk about the criminal side, it's beyond a reasonable doubt. You're going to be exonerated. It shows beyond a reasonable doubt that you did act in self-defense. However, when you get to the civil case, when a civil case is filed against you, that is called preponderance of the evidence. It's a lot lower burden of proof. It's only 51% is what they say. It's beyond 50%. So that's 50%. That could be 50.5%. Anything that's beyond 50% that shows maybe you acted in negligence or haste, or you didn't do all the right things, that lower burden of proof could be all the difference, and you may be having to pay out some money unless you have the protection and the attorneys from US Law Shield. So I just want to make sure we get that across as well. So we know US Law Shield doesn't come only during a criminal trial, right, Lindsay?
Right.
All right. So right now, I'm going to put up a slide for you all watching at home right now, or watching on the replay. I'm going to put up a slide right now that makes it very easy for you to get involved with US Law Shield right now. How you can, there we go. We've got that one up there right there. So while Lindsay and I talk a little bit more, this is very easy for you to do. You simply text Guy Beverage to 281-603-0066, 281-603-0066. Text Guy Beverage, and that will help you. You also can use that code if you go to the US Law Shield website. Use that code Guy Beverage, and that will give you all the Platinum Plus membership and 2 additional months free for that as well. Caleb, I see your question there. If he had been found guilty of something and fined $500,000, who would pay that fine? Right? With US Law Shield, we reduce that. We help prevent that kind of judgment ever coming out. Now, Lindsay, maybe you know the answer to this question. If he had been found guilty of something and fined $500,000, who would pay that fine?
Yeah. Okay. So as Guy said, we work to make sure that those things don't happen, that he is not fined $500,000. But the long of the short is that we do not pay out civil damages. So that would unfortunately have to be Jack to pay.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's why it's so vitally important that he has a good outcome in his criminal defense. And then it's a lot easier in your civil defense to say, look, even the criminal court couldn't find him guilty of anything. And so as we move forward in the civil trial, it should be a lot easier to defend against something like that. So, Lindsay, also, what are some of the other coverages that our audience might want to know? Some additional, some add-on bonus features that you can add on to your membership?
Okay, so one of them is gun owner identity theft. This one is it's pretty important. So let's say that you travel with a firearm, you get to a hotel, you've left your car unlocked, someone comes and they've stolen your firearm. They use it in a crime. Who knows what could happen? We work with you guys, we work with the police to make sure that you guys aren't found criminally negligent for anything of that nature for your firearm being locked, because depending on, in Texas, we're pretty solid on that. Someone broke into your car, it's not really something that's on you, but we will help you just in case that any sort of charges come from that situation. We'll make sure that you are, hey, this was stolen, he was in the Motel 6 parking lot, he simply forgot to lock his car. It wasn't exactly negligence. It was a long night. And then we go from there to make sure that we can get your firearm back if it is recovered in a robbery, anything of that nature. We work with the police. We work to get it back for you guys. We also have our multi-state protection. So this covers you in all 50 states the same way that you would be protected if you are in Texas. What we cover in Texas, if you're traveling across state lines, you're going to Oklahoma to work, we cover you in Oklahoma the same way you'll be covered in Texas. We also have our minor children coverage, and we do get a lot of funny looks for that because they're like, what in the world could we be doing with minor children? But myself, I have a 16-year-old and I have a 12-year-old. So let's say that someone broke in and unfortunately they were able to get to me before I could get to them, and my 16-year-old son picks up my firearm and he neutralizes the situation. My son, 9 times out of 10, would be cleared criminally because he is protecting his mother, he is protecting his 12-year-old brother, but he is also not exempt from being sued civilly in court. So that man who broke into my house, his wife could come and say, he was a good man, he had too much to drink, he kicked in the wrong door, it's supposed to be my door, he didn't have the right to kill him. Well, unfortunately, my 16-year-old could be up against that in court. So we will cover your children the same way that you would be covered. This also extends to school. We know bullying is a huge epidemic right now. So if your son or your daughter is being bullied, they just take it, they've had enough, and they just pop one, knock them in the nose. That family's going to want to come and they're going to say, your child had no right to hit mine. You're going to pay for medical. You're going to pay for pain and suffering. And we'll be like, okay, well, we'll see you in court. So that is, we do help with that. And then our last one is Hunter Shield. This is Texas, so we hunt here. So we cover you if you are not blatantly breaking the law, if you are not knowingly breaking the law, if you have one too many dove and you weren't aware, if you accidentally cross purple paint, we will cover you. But it cannot be any blatant breaking of the law. We love our game wardens and we appreciate what they do, but we will help you in those situations if it is purely an accident.
Yeah, those are some great add-ons for that, and it's just phenomenal that you all do that, especially the Hunter Shield, and for me, the minor children as well. We homeschool our kids. They, like I said, they're free range and wide open all the time, and I think we homeschool to protect the school from them and not the other way around sometimes.
I should do that too.
Yeah, they go out in public, and I tell you, my little daughter is not going to put up with much mess from anybody, and she's going to lay it on somebody. So the minor children, that's just phenomenal. I don't know if she could use it, or I would have to use it if she assaults her older brother, but I'll have to look into that for sure. So perfect, Lindsay. Listen, I want to thank you so much for coming on tonight. How can people get in touch with you if they want to have more information? If they want to ask you some more questions about the programs, or they just have any interest in general and more information about Law Shield?
Absolutely. You guys can always go to uslawshield.com. My personal email is lhicks@uslawshield.com if you have any questions. And I can also be reached by my cell phone. It's 325-514-0247. I would be happy to help you guys with any questions and guide you on your journey with us. We'd love to have you.
Awesome. I'll drop all that down in the comments as well to make sure everybody has all that information. One other thing I want to make sure that I mention about Law Shield, correct me if I'm wrong, but you all do classes from time to time in different regions as well, and they can find that on the website?
Absolutely. They can go to our gun law seminar website. We do situational awareness workshops. We do active shooter situations, how to treat a gunshot wound in the field, numerous different things. They're all listed on our website. You can narrow it down to your area, and then you guys can sign up for it, and it'll tell you time and date and where to be.
Awesome. And you do to get, yeah, I just want to let you all know, you do get a discount for being a member of US Law Shield to go to all these awesome trainings that they have. So there's how to get it, how to be a member today right there on the screen again. Lindsay, I do want to thank you so much for being here tonight. I know you were nervous as anything leading up to this. You did an awesome job. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm sure we'll be talking. And guys, just so you know, Lindsay will be out in the field with me at some point in 2021 when we're doing some live in-person trainings here in the United States of Texas. So thank you again, Lindsay, for being here tonight.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Awesome. So as we close out tonight, Warriors, I do want to make sure that you, if you haven't subscribed to Protectors Toolkit on the Facebook page or been like the Facebook page, go out there and like it. If you haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel, why have you done that? Hit the subscribe, hit notifications, ding that thing down there so you get all the updates whenever we come out to you to do all these wonderful free trainings that we bring into your living room, your palm of your hand, and your cell phone, wherever you happen to be getting all of our information from Protectors Toolkit. Please do that. If you haven't joined our membership yet, I also don't know why you haven't done that yet. If you want ready and done for you programs to do to help you build, develop, and lead your church safety and security ministry, you need to be in the membership group. That's where all of our trainings are. That's where all of our roadmap is for success for you. If you're building a if you're wanting to do a risk assessment, there's information on that in there. If you're building plans, policies, and procedures, that is also a done for you system in there for you to fill in the blanks and get it done for you. If you're wondering on what to train on next month, that's in there for you. As a leader, that's the biggest benefit of the membership site that I can tell you. It's done for you PowerPoints, done for you leaders notes and guidelines, and then you just train your team. We don't have to show up to church and wonder on what we're going to train on this month or this quarter. It's done for you systems. So you can go to your 9-to-5 job. You can do that thing you like to do so you get some central heat and air at your house and still be a protector and volunteer on the weekends. Word and a Weapon, the new podcast is out. I happen to like it. Not only because I did it, but it's actually a good one. So go find season 1, episode 4 of Word and a Weapon podcast out there, and find us everywhere on all your social media platforms, and share. Don't forget, host a training. Come find us and host a training. We're booking for 2021 right now. Whether you want the 2-day functional pistol for warriors class like Carson just had, go read Carson's review out there. Carson had an awesome time at the training, and I got more from him than he probably got from me. We enjoy doing those classes. If you want basic training, you want advanced training, you want scenario training, whatever it is for your church, we have it. We'll bring it right to you. And as always, Warriors, as I always say before I end the broadcast, do not forget to keep them safe.